Hi everyone, we are live. Thank you so much for coming to today's webinar. I'm joined here again by the wonderful Meg, who is going to be giving us a presentation, episode 2 of the Enrollment Growth Framework. If you don't know Meg, she's been in the early childhood education space for 22 years, worked across 3 continents, and she has some amazing knowledge to share with us about how we can have families understand your school. Last time we talked about how people can see your school, but this time we're talking about how they can understand it. So with that, I am just going to quickly go over some tips for the webinar. We use a mix of QR codes and on-screen CTAs that are going to be located in the bottom left corner. You should see right now a link to download today's workbook that Meg is going to be walking through. I'm also going to put it into the chat in a moment. And we encourage you to ask questions in the Q&A. We'll either answer them live or there will also be dedicated time at the end of the webinar for a live Q&A. And with that, I am going to hand it over to you, Meg.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm so happy to be here for the second workshop in this series. This is Do Families Understand Your School? Seems simple enough, but it actually can be kind of hard to translate your heart and your vision so that a stranger can understand and trust you and move forward with booking a tour. So we're going to turn what makes your school special into a clear, consistent story that families can understand and remember. The remember part is big. So welcome back if you're back for 2, or welcome if this is your first one. Before I started helping schools with enrollment and visibility, like Harmony said, I spent 2 decades working in ECE as a Montessori educator, a teacher trainer, an instructional coach on admin teams. So everything that I bring to these workshops, that I talk about in these workshops, comes from both sides of the table. I understand schools because I have lived it for a long time. So if this is your first workshop with me, welcome. You are joining us at the second step in our enrollment growth framework. And don't worry, you'll have everything you need to participate today. If you joined us for session 1, welcome back. We're going to build on what you learned, but you don't need to have attended the first workshop to get big value out of today's. This isn't about turning you into a marketer. It's about helping great schools communicate what makes them extraordinary so the right families can recognize it, and that's most important. So before we jump in, let me show you where our workshop fits into that framework. So this is a slide from last time. Visibility isn't marketing, okay? Visibility means that families can find you, they can understand you, they can trust you enough to take that next step, which means booking a tour or making that first call to your program. Our families need to be able to do those 4 things easily, and if they can't, you're losing enrollments without even knowing it. This is the framework, and the framework is built exactly off those 4 steps. First, they have to find you. That was our first workshop. Then they ask, do I understand what this program is about? And that is what we're going to focus on today. So in the future, our next workshop is going to focus in on that trust you, on number 3, and then choose you, number 4, will be the 4th of the series. So let's talk about what you're going to leave with today, because this isn't a workshop. I don't want to be a talking head for you. I want to guide you through the work to craft something meaningful for your program. So by the end of this workshop, okay, and you're going to be using that workbook. Now, you can download it now and use it digitally. You can run and print it and write in it, that's fine. Or if you just want to take notes as we go along, my slides mirror what's in the workbook. So you can still work along without having that book right in front of you. So however you want to participate is great and totally up to you. But we're going to do this together, and by the end, you won't just have ideas. You're going to have completed exercises and an action plan that you can put to use right away. My goal is that you leave with more clarity and more confidence about how you communicate what makes your school special. So you're going to see your school through parents' eyes. You're going to identify where your messaging is unclear. Build a simple story that families will remember. Leave with your top 3 know you improvements. Okay? You're going to have time throughout. We'll have activities where we'll take brief pauses so you can start crafting and drafting, because that's really important. I'm going to adjust my screen here just a second. Perfect. All right, so let's do a poll. Which is harder? Getting families to find you, explaining what makes you different, or both? Or both? What do you think? Did that poll pop up?
Yes, you should see the poll on the screen right now, the results.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Both. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, it's both. Most schools don't struggle because they aren't amazing, because you are. Schools struggle because they can sound like every other school, right? The tale of 2 homepages. We have School A and School B. I'm just going to read you something from the hero section of these websites that I saw. Hero section is that big top chunk, right? School A. We provide a nurturing, child-centered environment where every child reaches their full potential. School B. Preschool for curious 2 to 5-year-olds who spend their days exploring outdoors, building friendships, solving problems, and discovering the joy of learning through play. My question to you is, which school can you picture? I didn't ask which one was better. Which one in your mind's eye can you picture? School A uses words that almost every preschool uses. Nurturing, child-centered, not bad words. It's just incomplete. We'll talk about that. School B, for me, helps me to imagine the children. I can see them outside. I can imagine the classroom, and I can picture my own child there because of the way that it's written. These 2 schools could be offering the exact same thing. It's just how this message is crafted. So that's the difference. Families don't buy educational philosophy. They're buying that picture of their child's future. So, what are parents actually trying to learn when they visit your website? One of the biggest mistakes schools can make is assuming that families are all asking the same questions. And we all wear our educator hats, right? So we typically tend to answer educator type questions on our website. And parents, they're not. They aren't evaluating your curriculum. They're imagining, what does Tuesday morning look like for their child at your program? They're wondering, will my child make friends? Will my child feel safe? Will my child be excited to come back to school? Can I trust the teachers? Your website has one job. And that is to answer those questions before a family ever schedules a tour. So not only is this helping them understand what you offer, but this is also a trust piece too. So how quickly are you answering those type of parent questions? Can a family answer these questions in 10 seconds? I'm talking about they hit your website. Can they answer these in 10 seconds? Who do you serve? What will the child experience? Why do you do things this way? Who are your teachers? And why should I remember you? All right. And now I didn't say, can they eventually find these answers? I said, can they answer these questions quickly? Families are comparing schools the same way we compare restaurants, right? We open several tabs, we skim, we eliminate. We skim, we eliminate. So if a parent has to hunt for the answers to these style of questions, you've lost them. They are likely moving on before they ever hit the middle of your homepage. Really, you've got 10 seconds to make that first impression. So I want to test your school. Take out your phone, or if you're at your computer, most likely you can bring up your website. Don't do anything with it yet. Just open it up. It can be on your phone. It can be on your computer, either way. So take a second, get it open. Okay. Does anyone need more time? Okay. I don't see anything in the chat. I want you to be a parent. You're not a director anymore. You're not a school owner anymore. You are a parent. You are someone who doesn't know your school at all. Now, don't do anything yet. What you're going to do for the 10-second test is you're going to answer questions. And if you find yourself saying, well, if I clicked over here, or if I scroll down here, no, stop, because your parents probably won't. 10 seconds. Don't scroll, don't explain, just observe. Okay. Can you get a read of your program in 10 seconds? So I'm just going to count it off. I'll stop at 10 seconds. Okay, go ahead and start. That's your 10. That's your 10. Let's score what you saw. So in page 2 of your workbook, you're going to have the opportunity to score your homepage. Don't overthink it. It's not a grade. This is just helping you see your school through fresh eyes. So you're going to rate these questions here with the check marks. You're going to rate them with a yes, a sort of, or a no. And if you can write them on paper, you can put a Y, an SO for sort of, and an N for no, however you want to do it. Let's go through our questions. In that first 10 seconds, can families tell the ages that you serve at your program? Yes, sort of, or no? Can families tell what type of school or program you are? Yes, sort of, or no? The children's experience, so just an idea of a child's day or what you offer to the children. What matters or is most important in your program? Yes, sort of, no. Now, this is in the first 10 seconds that you just looked at your website. That's all you had. What makes you different? Yes, sort of, no. Was it there? And what to do next? Yes, sort of, no. What to do next means book a tour, call for more information, fill out a lead form. So that's your call to action, what to do next. Was anything that surprised you in this exercise? Feel free, you can come off of mute, you can type it in the chat. Was there anything that surprised you? Or what was super clear? Or what was missing? There's no judgment here. No judgment here. The things that you notice in this exercise and scoring your homepage, these are celebrations. Even if it is a no or a sort of, that is a celebration because that's the point of the exercise. Now you know what is translating easily and quickly and what could use a little refinement. And that's the whole point, right? Is to know where to grow. And the more clear you can make it, the easier it is for a family to understand. So make sure you've got those if you're thinking about it in the first 10 seconds of that homepage. Ages, type of program, what the children experience, what matters, what makes you different, and what to do next. Those can be skimmable. You don't have to go in depth. You can have an About Us page to go into depth. Your home page is there to serve these things quickly, and then you can build them out in other places. You don't want a narrative on your homepage. I am going to say something that might surprise you. Child-centered, whole child, developmentally appropriate, hands-on learning, prepared environment. None of these are bad. And I use all of them myself in some form or another. The problem isn't that they're wrong. The problem is that these words right here are invisible. They're invisible because parents hear these words and phrases almost at almost every school they visit. So that means that they stop really meaning anything. Everybody says those things. So our job isn't to eliminate educational language or that jargon. Our job is to translate it. And here is what that translation looks like. Now remember, we've got our educator hats on when we make our websites, right? We know all of the things that are how our program is enriching a child's development. And that's wonderful. But we've got parents that are coming in, brand new parents, they don't have that background. And what does developmentally appropriate mean, or whole child, right? So on page 3 of your workbook, this is where your expertise truly is necessary. You can tell parents your philosophy, but you have to show them what that looks like. So this is a we say and a families hear exercise. So in your workbook, you see these: child-centered, hands-on learning, and prepared environment. So those are in your workbook. As we go along here, make a little note of the translations just for inspiration only. Just for inspiration only. So for child-centered, let's just say you said we have a child-centered environment. Okay, we have to get a parent to understand that that means that the teachers are going to get to know their child as an individual. That's what that means. Child-centered. Or is there an alternate definition that you like better? Use it. Use it. Hands-on learning. A parent needs to be able to understand that hands-on learning means that their child is going to spend their day creatively building, experimenting, and moving, using their hands to construct knowledge. How I described it just there is more impactful than just saying a hands-on learning environment. A prepared environment, and this is one that Montessori schools use quite a lot. What's a prepared environment mean? It means that the classroom is intentionally designed so the child can learn independently and confidently. So when we translate these terms, a parent can visualize their child, right? Sometimes these terms, they just don't land. And like I said, they're used everywhere, so they don't mean a whole lot. Make them come to life. Your parents aren't buying these terms. They're buying outcomes, they're buying experiences, and they're buying feelings. So now this is your turn for our next activity. In your workbook, there are 3 empty spots for the phrase and 3 empty spots for a translation. So a phrase and a translation, there's 3 pairs. Open your website if you need to. But what I would like you to do, and you're going to get some time to do this, is to find 3 phrases that you use all the time. Maybe it's in your parent handbook too. I don't know. But start with your website. 3 phrases that you use all the time. Write them in your workbook. Then I want you to ask yourself, this is a good question. If you removed the educational jargon from that phrase or statement, how would you explain that to a parent who's standing next to you at car line or at pickup? How would you explain that term to someone who doesn't know anything about it? So I love the analogy, like, how would you explain it to a parent at pickup if they were standing right next to you? So I'd like you to we're going to do about 5 minutes. I want you to choose 3 terms that live on your website or in your promotional materials or in your parent materials, 3 phrases, and I would like you to try and translate them into something that you would tell a parent. Like, how would you explain it to a parent who's standing right next to you? So go ahead. I'll set a timer for about 5 minutes so you have time to ponder. No rush at all. Translate those 3 phrases into a more parent-friendly explanation. And if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. About 2.5 minutes left. About a minute left. Okay, start wrapping up your thought. All right. So you did 3 translations, or you got close to 3. Did you have a phrase that was really hard to translate? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you want to, if you had one that was really tough to translate. And then put a thumbs up in the chat if you had one that was much stronger after you thought it through. And if you're feeling super brave, I would love to hear one of your examples. Don't be shy. We're not trying to dumb anything down with this exercise. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is making our expertise visible to someone who isn't an educator. That's really important. We know this stuff inside and out. We could talk about it all day long, but talking about it on your website so someone who has no idea what you're about or what the school does, or it's their very first kiddo and they're looking for the perfect spot, they've got to be able to understand it and connect with it. So now that we've started speaking like a parent, let's answer an even bigger question. What makes your school your school? This is tough, and this is where honestly a lot of schools get stuck. So when I ask programs, what makes your school different? Because I need to know this when I'm supporting schools. What makes your school different? I'm going to give you some answers that I hear a lot. We love children. We have super experienced teachers. We are play-based. We have large gardens. Wonderful, wonderful qualities, but not necessarily memorable, because many schools can honestly say the exact same thing, right? Those are great qualities. Instead, I want you to think about moments, experiences, feelings that families remember after visiting your school. Okay, so the slide says it all here. So a family visits 3 schools this week. All have the same hours, they serve the same age ranges, and it's roughly about the same tuition. Why would they remember yours? Why would they remember yours? This is our next activity. Before we can tell the story of your school's story, it's important to identify those moments that make it memorable. And it's not about writing what sounds impressive. It's about writing what feels true. What feels true. On page 4 of the workbook, you're going to see 6 prompts. And I'll put these up on the screen too. I want you to write the first thing that comes to mind. Don't overthink it. The first thing that comes to mind. Now, I'm going to give some examples just to get your creative juices flowing. Think about what families notice, what they talk about, the things that you hear them comment about all over and over, the things that families have said they've remembered about your school from the very first time they walk through the door, okay? Something families love about our school. So that is, what is something that parents are mentioning over and over again? It could have been a warm welcome. It could be the way that the children are greeted in the morning. It could be the sense of community. I had one director say that a parent felt like they were coming to Mo's place, like everybody knew each other, you know? Your next one is something children experience that they might not experience elsewhere. It might be your daily outdoor learning. It might be mixed age classes or cooking or gardening or animal care, something unique that you offer in your program. Okay, next is something that your teachers are especially good at. So what do your teachers do consistently well? Is it building relationship? Is it supporting shy children acclimate? Is it supporting neurodivergent learners? Is it encouraging independence, helping children solve problems? Just examples. Then something we believe strongly about children. So in your mind, you want to finish the sentence. We believe children learn best through play, are naturally capable, or every child deserves to feel known. Something families often mention. Think about reviews that you've received or testimonials or feedback that you've gotten from a tour or conversations at pickup. What compliments do you repeatedly hear about your program? What is something someone would notice within 5 minutes of walking into your school? What would they see? What would they hear? How would the space feel? What makes that first impression memorable or different? Excuse me. So remember, specific beats impressive. So that means we're nurturing versus the teachers greet the children by name at the door. It's we have a beautiful campus versus children spend at least 2 hours outside every day. Specific beats impressive. When you get specific, you're painting a picture for parents. Okay, these are the details that stick in parents' minds. So I'm going to give you a little time to answer these 6 questions. First thing that pops to mind about your program, okay, for these 6 prompts. So let me look at the time here. We're going to do let's do about 3 minutes. You know your program well. You could probably answer these in a heartbeat. First thing that comes to mind. Excuse me. Okay, you have about a minute left. If you've gotten through them, circle your favorite 3. Okay, start wrapping up. If you haven't circled your favorite 3, I say your best 3, but I think I like favorite better than best. Now we're going to bring everything together. Those 3 that you circled or starred or noted, however you did, okay? We're going to use those 3. Over the last few minutes, you've identified the things that truly make your school memorable. Maybe it's your classrooms, maybe it's your warm teachers, maybe it's your calm environment, maybe it's the way families immediately feel welcome when they walk through your doors. We're going to use those ideas to turn it into a story. I didn't say we're going to write your mission statement. This isn't about creating something polished or corporate. It's about answering parents' questions in a way that feels authentic, right? Imagine you're standing at the playground and another parent asks, "Tell me about your school." How would you answer? And keep it simple. So these 3 are the essential pieces to tell me about your school. On page 5 of your workbook, you're going to finish these 3 sentences using your favorite 3, hopefully from your list that you just made. So this is who you are and who you serve. The children here, what do they actually experience every day? It's not we provide hands-on learning, right? It's children spend their days exploring, building, creating, caring for the environment, yada, yada, yada. Families choose us. This is a really good spot for those ingredients that you just identified to be woven in. Maybe your families choose you because of how centered and calm the classrooms are. Maybe they love your family community that you have constructed. Maybe they appreciate how long the tenure of each teacher in your program. There isn't a right answer. There's only the answer that's true for you and your program. So take a moment, you can take a couple minutes to complete those 3 statements. We are children here and families choose us. It's not about making it perfect. It's more about clarity than perfection right now. So take a couple minutes to see if you can draft out something for those 3. Take about another minute. Okay, start wrapping up that thought. All right. I always have to weave in a little visibility too, because it's really important. And consistency in what your information is across the online landscape is really important. So we have to talk about, does your story sound the same everywhere? So will a family encounter the same story everywhere they find your school? This is important. And now you have crafted pieces of something that could be so usable and beautiful for you to have on your website, but it shouldn't just live on your website. So parents need to see this on website. They need to see it on Google. They need to see it in your social media. They need to see it in whatever information you're providing in an enrollment packet. They need to see this in person when they come to tour, because this is the story of your school. This is the heart of what you offer and what you've created. Okay? Now, page 6. You can score each one. Does it sound like you? Sort of. Does it need work? Okay, so look at these platforms here: Google, website, Facebook, Instagram, tour enrollment packet. And that's what you're going to score. Is your information consistent on there? Does it say the same thing about the heart of your program? Yes. Does it sound like you? Sort of. Does it need some work? This just helps you identify some inconsistencies that stand out to parents. They see when it doesn't feel and look the same. So on page 6, that's where you can give yourself a little score on each one of those areas or platforms. Like I said, perfection is not the goal here. The goal is we want to identify the gaps and then create consistency across everywhere that a parent is going to encounter your story and your information. That's another way you're going to build trust with families, is everywhere they go, it's consistent. We go to workshops and we go, great, workshop done. And we put the workbooks in the drawer and we're finished. That is a mistake because we can always keep going with this work. And sometimes we just need to hold ourselves accountable and make a little bit of a plan. I would like you to choose 3 improvements. What changes could have the biggest impact on a prospective family? Which changes can you realistically complete this month? If you could pick 3 things, it's not about tackling every little thing that you saw. That's not what it's about, or every little thing you uncovered. But if there were 3 things that could help a prospective parent better understand your program, make a little list and hold yourself accountable, and really be honest. What change can I do this month? We are halfway through the month. Which one can you do this week? Be realistic. I know how many plates are in the air in your office. Small, consistent improvements are what creates momentum. In your workbook, you have a 30-day action plan. We're not going to do that now, but it's what can you do this month at the beginning of next month? So think 30 days ahead. Little things, just little things that you can do to help improve your story across the internet, essentially. And if you have questions that bubble up after the fact, write them down, because I am now at your disposal. We're going to wrap it up, and I want to leave you with the final thought. Many owners and directors think that they need to invent something super unique about their school, and that is rarely the case, because your story, your heart, is already there. It's in the way the teachers greet the children in the morning. It's in the confidence that children develop under your care. It's in the relationships that you build with families. It's in the experiences that happen every single day under your roof. So your job isn't to create a big fluffy story. Your job is to help families see how extraordinary what you do is. And when families understand who you are, they can begin to picture their child with you. And that is a really powerful step towards enrollment. So if you got a chance to, think about those 3 improvements, like I said, don't try and do them all today, tomorrow, by the end of the week. Just choose one. One is fine. One place to start where your story wasn't as clear as it could be. Just one. So your school doesn't need a better story. Sometimes it just needs a bit clearer one. So thank you for joining me for this workshop. I have my contact information here, my email. I have a very active Instagram, and I post very short reels with tips on enrollment, on tours, on getting reviews from families. I love sharing. I'm an educator. So my Instagram is very much education for you, and it's all tailored towards school owners and directors. And then there's some funny bits where I share my experiences from the preschool classroom. We all have some doozies. So I want to invite you to reach out to me if you ever have the need. It doesn't cost anything to call. It doesn't cost anything to book an appointment. I would love to get to know you. I would love to lend a hand. I would love to get to know your program. Just consider me a marketer in your back pocket. I am a terrible salesperson. I love to chat and to get to know and to serve you and your program in the best way that I can, because children are at the center of my work. Even though I work with schools, children have always been at the center of my work. And if I can bring families to you, helpfully, if I can do that, then I've done a good job in my heart. So thank you for coming. Our next workshop is going to be centered around trust. That is reviews and testimonials. And we all know how icky it is to ask for reviews. So I have tricks. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Meg. This was amazing. Before we fully close out, I just want to briefly talk a little bit about Playground. If anyone isn't familiar, we are a child care management software. So a lot of what Meg talked about today, how important it is that families know you, understand what makes your program so special. That's just one piece of the enrollment puzzle. And Playground aims to help all stages of enrollment so that you can fill your seats. And I'd actually love to show everyone a short video of Dr. Tamar Andrews, who is Playground's first customer, talking a little bit about what it is and what it did for her center. So let me play this video.
So people always ask me what Playground is. I always say Playground is the only software a child care program needs to run and grow. But to me, it's so much more than software. It's the system that gave me back my time as a director so I could spend more time with my teachers, with the kids, with the families, instead of behind a desk. And it actually started in the center that I was directing. And after 20 years as a director, I was overwhelmed. Paperwork, billing, enrollment, oh my God, a dozen different systems that didn't work together. And one day I just looked at my sons and I said, I need you to fix this. And they built Playground right alongside me, solving all the real problems I had every single day. We started in just one center and now it's kind of cool. It's grown to thousands across the country. The biggest thing that it gave me though was time to really support my teachers, time to build relationships with families, time to focus on my program instead of the paperwork. Whether it's enrollment, billing, staffing, communication, or any compliance, Playground really brings everything together so you're spending less time managing your center. So for anybody who's nervous about making a change to Playground, I get it. I'm old. I was a paper and pencil and other apps person too, but you won't be doing it alone. The Playground team really helps guide you every step of the way, from data to training to answering every question you have. Director to director, I hope you choose Playground and realize what it did for me.
I'm muted. If anyone is interested at all in speaking to someone on our team, there is a link in the bottom left corner of your screen. And everyone is going to get an email with a recording to this webinar and information about episode 3 in this series, which we're really excited about, and also ways to contact Meg and everything about the work that she's doing over at Enroll and Shine. So if anyone, let's see, we're also doing a live Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A and we will answer them. We'll leave it open for about a minute, and then we will wrap things up. Let me put this back so you guys can follow Meg on Instagram. She is a real queen.
You're kidding.
All right. Well, if nobody has any more questions, I think that we are going to wrap it up here. Thank you again so much, Meg, and we're really excited for episode 3. And thank you, everyone, for coming today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good evening.